Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Great to see you, as it always is. I hope you're all doing well. Back to business today. Two new tournaments over in Switzerland and in Austria. These are two of my personal favourites. I am very, very excited for this week. So get your comments in with your predictions. Anything I'm going for personally will be in that pinned comment. You're more than welcome to take a look at that. You take it if you want, you leave it if you must. It's entirely up to you. The choice will always be yours. But do like the video. If you be so kind, get yourself subscribed to the channel. If you're not already, we do continue to grow each and every day on the road to 3k and what have you. So get yourself involved. It'd be an honour to welcome you to the team. Now that's out the way, we'll waste no more time with it. Let's get into business, folks. Let's get it on. Here's Jensen Brooksby, Alexander Muller. I think I would have to go with Jensen Brooksby in this one. I would be siding with the American ever so slightly. I do believe he is probably, dare I say, a bit more trustworthy on these quicker courts, especially just on the hard courts in general. Now they played each other once before, earlier on in the season. Cincinnati Masters, anything but easy, close game, 3 sets, just about went the way of Jensen Brooksby, tie-breaking the first, dropped the second set 7-5, then had to come back and put a 6-1 on Alexander Muller in the third. Happy days. Now he is coming into this with a bit more form, bit more momentum coming into this one for Jensen Brooksby than that of Alexander Muller. He's won 3 of his last 10. That's right, 3 of his last 10 dating back to Toronto at the end of July. Khachanov, Darwin Blanche, and then that match against Khachanov. But we watched that game. Khachanov did not want to be here. It's a bit of an outlier in the midst of all them losses. You've just got an absolute belter of a win against Khachanov. Now Khachanov shot that one away. Unfortunately, I remember watching that one and I didn't like what I was watching. I say Jensen Brooksby won 6 of his last 10. It's alright. It's much better than Alexander Muller. Like I said, I'm not picking it with a lot of conviction, but I would have to side with Jensen Brooksby, probably seeing this one out however he wants to go about his business. But at 1.35, I don't know. I don't think it's that one-sided. I wouldn't have said it was that one-sided. It is the first round after all. I do expect Jensen Brooksby to be the slightly better player of the two on the day, so we'll leave that one there and we shall move on. Next up is Sonego and Davidovich Fokina. Should be a decent game. I feel like we've seen this match quite a few times, but I was sorely mistaken. Head-to-head is 1-0 to Lorenzo Sonego back in 2019 on the Challenger Tour. Just about got that one done on the clay. So we've never actually seen this on the main draw. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Certainly not me. Now I think looking at it for what it is, you would probably agree with me when I say Davidovich Fokina is probably a better player than Lorenzo Sonego. He has most definitely had a more successful season, that is for sure. 22 wins, 14 losses on the hard court, 2-2 indoors, 38-24 on the season, 20-26 for Lorenzo Sonego, 11-14 on the hard court, 3-3 on the indoor court. Now he looked fairly decent last week, I thought. Looked alright against Arthur Ferry, beat the shit out of Kovacevic, and I thought he looked really decent against Ugo Humbert until it all kind of unravelled for him that first set. Most importantly, he looked sharp. He looked rather sharp, but I can't remember who it was. Someone put it perfectly in the comments with Sonego. They said this guy goes from hunter to hunted very fucking quick in these games, and that's exactly what happened against Ugo Humbert. But he kind of done more in Stockholm than what we got outside Davidovich Fokina over in Belgium. Very close game with Marcus Garon in the first round, and then Rafael Collignon just wiped the floor with him, tie-breaking a 6-1. Crazy, funny old game. It is certainly a funny old game. Now we're getting Davidovich Fokina around 1.6. I expect him to be the favourite. Like I say, I do believe he is the better of the two. And when he's in form, this guy's been probably one of the more lethal players on the tour earlier on anyway, when we were on the hard court. I mean, the results have kind of dried up ever since, but halfway through the season, I'd say mid-season, Davidovich Fokina was on fire, was in blazing hot form, and he's been putting in solid runs all year round. Like I say, as of late, it's kind of dried up a little bit. I probably would have always fancied him to beat the likes of a Lorenzo Sonego, but given everything we know, comparing the record of the two, it's night and day when it comes to indoor hard court. I wouldn't have said, you take this how you will, I wouldn't have said Lorenzo Sonego is any worse than Davidovich Fokina. I'm not sitting here saying he's a lot better. He's just not any worse. He may have had, if anything, a little bit more success on these indoor surfaces, so it is just food for thought. Sonego could be a decent dog. It's the first round. He should be good for these first round matches. Davidovich Fokina is a bit of a step up than the likes of a Arthur Ferry, a JM Sarundalo, a Stefan Dostanic. That's all he's beaten at the moment. So I don't know. He's only won 4 of his last 10. Davidovich Fokina has won 4 of his last 10. We're getting him at 1.6. There is a clear favourite in this. I would have to side with the Spaniard. I don't like it. I don't like it a lot, but I would have to side ever so slightly with Davidovich Fokina in that one, folks. So we'll move on to Remy Bertola and Jaume Munar. At first glance, I was saying, it's probably just got to be Jaume Munar. It's got to be Jaume Munar. But has it? I know I always say there's levels, but has this got to be Jaume Munar? Has Bertola got a wild card? Is he coming into this on a wild card, or is he qualified? I think he's had to qualify. I think the other lad's a wild card. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, he's come through qualifying. And up until qualifying, this guy had beat pretty much nobody all year round. Yeah, he's had a decent season as well. 51 wins, 29 losses. That's very good. Majority of it coming on the clay. 33 and 21 on the dirt. 7 and 2 on the hard court. 10 and 6 indoors. That's very good. It's much better than the record of Jaume Munar. But the calibre of opponents that these two are used to playing, that tends to be night and day, does it not? 27 and 25 for Jaume Munar, 50 and 11 on the hard court, 3 and 1 indoors. He's played better on the quicker surfaces this year than he's ever done. And he's kind of fucked the clay off, and he's kind of went, no, I can't be arsed with the clay. 6 and 9 on that. And he's done much better on the hard court. So I would have never thought I'd be saying that about Jaume Munar. But he's been really good. He's had himself a solid season, in my opinion. He was decent in Shanghai last time out. 1-3 in there. Took a set off Djokovic, ended up getting beat by him. In the end, he beat Fuskovic, Flavio Caboli. Nishioka took the set off Djokovic. Anyone doing that, anyone doing the likes of that, I'd always say you should be getting past these challenger tour level opponents. But just want to say that Bertola's had to come through qualifying, and he smacked the shit out of Manarino, and he beat Quinton Hallis in straight sets as well. They ain't no challenger tour players, certainly not Adrian Manarino. So that does kind of sway things a little bit. That does kind of skew me judgment ever so slightly in this. Jaume Munar 1.3. I don't like it. I don't like that price with Jaume Munar, especially with the home favourites here. Maybe he's a lot better than what I think he is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm familiar with the game of Remy Bertola, but he looked fantastic in qualifying. If you can put one on Manarino like that, and you can put one on Quinton Hallis on the hard courts, I'd fancy you to put one on Jaume Munar. I just would. Like I say, the records are night and day, but the calibre of opponents, the level of opponents that these two face on any given day, they couldn't be further apart, really. Up until qualifying, I don't know. I'm just going to sit and watch and see how this kid turns up. Say this kid, he's not a kid, really. He's a year younger than Jaume Munar. He's like 3 years younger than me, so no, he is not any kid. But yeah, like I said, prior to this, he's getting beat in the futures, getting beat by like Blackenau, Mark Leal, someone called Gianmarco Ferrari beat him the other day. It's just, I like to think there's levels, but I'm not against this guy turning up and pulling off what would be a massive upset according to the bookies in this one. So maybe just keep an eye on it. Maybe look at the dog on the spread if you fancy him, if you think the crowd's going to do enough. And then we'll wrap up with Jakob Mensik and Henry Bernet. This is pretty much a carbon copy. You're getting even worse odds in this. Well, you're getting better odds for the dog. This might be the wild card, I'm not too sure. But you're getting Jakob Mensik around 1.12. What are you doing with that? The way Jakob Mensik's been playing ever since Miami, you wouldn't go anywhere near that. He hasn't been that good. But he should be just too much, downright, outright too much for this kid today. Now, Jakob Mensik's only young. This lad's 2 years younger than Jakob Mensik, and he hasn't really played that much for the most part. 17 and 7, it's not bad. 16 and 5 on the clay, 1 and 1 indoors. This guy's winning ITF tournaments. He's winning ITF tournaments. At the start of last month, he was winning ITF tournaments, and then Sumit Nagal beat him. Oh, God. Really? He got beat 6-1, 6-3 by Sumit Nagal. Say less. Say less, you know what I mean? Like, there you go. There's your pick for you right there. If you believe in the crowd, if you believe in, like, the home dog advantage with the crowd, and what have you, do you believe that crowd is going to raise this kid's level from ITF to essentially main draw? You know, Jakob Mensik's won himself. This is a Masters winner right here. I know he ain't been playing half as much like it since he won the title, but like I say, the way you're looking at this, it's going to be the dog on the spread or nothing, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is really quick. I really wouldn't. There is pure and sheer levels to this game. Jakob Mensik's in the top 20, this kid's barely in the top 500. Like I say, I can't see that crowd turning this kid into a top 20 player overnight. I really can't. Can't wait to watch it. I'm all for them. I'm not against them pulling off an upset. They always do seem to be somewhat more inspired when they get these wild cards or what have you. He may not even have a wild card. I can't remember. It is one of them. It may be both. It would have to be Jakob Mensik for that one today, folks. Like I say, 1.2. It's very off-putting. No business to be done with that. But it's just a short one over in the Swiss indoors today. We've got a hell of a lot more come tomorrow. But that shall do is Luciano Darderi, Brandon Nakashima. It's got to be Binach. It's got to be Binach, and we're on the hard court. It's Luciano Darderi. Starting to sound like a broken record every time we mention the Italian now, but it's quite obvious, innit? It's plain and simple. This guy is yet to prove himself to us on the hard court, and it's not impersonal, because when it comes to the clay, this guy is one of the best. As a matter of fact, he's won himself 3 titles on the clay. Luciano Darderi has been fantastic this year, but in the quicker conditions, just ain't doing it. Just doesn't work for him. The game that he has on the dirt certainly does not translate to these hard courts, especially these indoor hard courts, man. These are so fast. These are lightning quick. Like last week in Kazakhstan, I mean, Brandon Nakashima getting past Medjedovic. It is what it is. I wasn't that impressed with the overall game of Medjedovic, but then he got sent home by Fabian Marzon. Himself a rather close first set, but then he just kind of quit on himself in the second and got given a 6-1. Now, Darderi didn't have to play in that first round. He went straight through to the round of 16, played Mochizuki, stood no chance. As a matter of fact, I remember quite a few of us would have took advantage of Mochizuki being a dog in that one. 6-3, 6-3. It's the way it's going, innit? He's beat Boo, beat Nishioka. They're the only ones he's won on the hard court. He dropped down back to the challenger, didn't need to get that title on the clay prior to this. And then a few of them would have come earlier on through the season and what have you. Look, it's quite easy. I hate using the word, but it's a bit of a fade job, innit, when it comes to Darderi on these hard courts. Brandon Nakashima, he ain't been too great as of late, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to kiss his ass. He's won 5 of his last 10. Jerry Shang, Marcus Garon, Jordan Thompson, Martin Fuskovic, and Mad Medjedovic. However he decides to go about his business today is entirely up to him, but I could only sit here and expect a Brandon Nakashima win on these indoor hard courts against Luciano Darderi. You can get him at 1.4. I'm a little bit hesitant to take these Americans, as I always am, but coming tomorrow, we may be sitting there saying, you know what, in hindsight, that 1.4 was an absolute steal of a parlay piece for Binach. So we'll leave that one where it is. We'll move on to Alejandro Tabilo, Alexander Bublik. Interesting, very, very interesting indeed. We have a player in Alejandro Tabilo who, up until fairly recently, I mean, he's still in really good form. This guy was the guy to beat over in Chengdu. Had himself one hell of a run over on the Asian swing. Title in Chengdu, first round exit in Tokyo. It's the mandatory first round exit after winning the title. It is what it is. And then he had a decent run over in Shanghai. Got to the second round, had to come through qualifying went back down to the Challenger Tour after Shanghai, and this is where it starts to concern me. Dropped down to the Olbia Challenger. Is that over in Italy? That should be over in Italy if my geography is correct. Yeah, that's right. Hard court then, yeah, of course. Yeah, dropped down to the Challenger Tour. Very close game with Lorenzo Carboni. You know, this guy's barely in the top 400. And then another close game with Daniel Glinka. This guy's barely in the top 300. And then he got beat by the one we call Pablo Carreño Busta. Now, I'm a big Carreño Busta fan, but in 2025, you probably should be beating this guy. You probably should be beating the likes of Carreño Busta. I do think he's a crafty veteran. It's not impersonal, but he's half the man he used to be. And given the form that Tabilo was in prior to that match, I probably would have expected him to get the better of Carreño Busta on the day, but no, absolutely not. Alexander Bublik, 2-game losing streak, that one to Manarino. Look, it was a bad performance, but he just won the title in Hangzhou against Valentin Roya prior to Beijing. He turned up to Beijing, and we've just said that about Tabilo, so it's only fair I say it about Bublik. The mandatory first round loss after winning that title to Manarino, so it is what it is. And then first game, second round over in Shanghai, 3 sets. Ended up getting beat by Valentin Vachereau. Now, if you were going to get beat by anyone in the Shanghai Masters, it was going to be him. It was going to be him. So I'm not too bothered about that either. There shouldn't really be much of a question to me in this one. Alexander Bublik, I feel like I would always side with him. Indoor hard courts against Alejandro Tabilo. I know Tabilo's been in really good form as of late. Well, he's been in good form over on the Asian swing since we've come back to Europe. 2-1 on the Challenger Tour. I can't look past Bublik. I just can't. I cannot look past Alexander Bublik. His serve, for the most part this season, that he's just served his way past everyone. And he's had everything else as well. He's been surprisingly good. You know, the way he started off the season, the way he finished off last year and came into this year, you've probably forgotten by now, but Alexander Bublik was like the easiest fade for a couple of months. It didn't look like he was ever going to win a match, and then all of a sudden he turned into the best player on the tour. Like I say, I'm not going to waste too much time on it, but I can't get past that boom and serve of Alexander Bublik at the best of times. You know, you can't touch it on the clay, you can't touch it anywhere else. I imagine that's going to be an absolute fucking nightmare to deal with on these indoor courts. I said that about a couple of them a few weeks ago about when we come indoors, but Alexander Bublik's one I've definitely got my eye on for the next couple of weeks. This guy will be a menace on the indoor courts. I would have to assume he is going to be an absolute menace for these players today. And at 1.4, be very tempted to stick that on a parlay. It's not steep, but it's a very sweet parlay piece, providing we get the right version of Alexander Bublik, mind you. Kovacevic and Matteo Arnaldi. I've got nothing for this. This is a very, very tough one to predict. The odds are all over the place, in my opinion. These have played each other twice before. Both of them have went the way of the Italian. They played each other in the Indian Wells this season, 2-1 to Arnaldi, and then the first time was in Toronto for qualifying 2 years ago. Like I say, I couldn't split these two. I could not tell you who's going to win this. The pair of them have had to come through qualifying. Alexander Kovacevic probably had a tougher time. Lucas Neumeier, Mackenzie McDonald, 3 sets. He managed to get them done. The sets that he won, he looked rather decent as well. I will give him that. He put in a 6-3 and a tiebreak. Oh no, was it just 2 tiebreaks? He did 2 tiebreaks to get past the first one. And then Mackenzie McDonald, he dropped that first set 6-2. Then came back 6-1 and 6-2. Like I say, a little bit all over the place in qualifying. Matteo Arnaldi, a bit more solid. He got past Jesper de Jong, 6-4 in a tiebreak. And then Tristan Schoolkate, pretty much similar tiebreak and 6-3. It's a weird one, man, because he didn't look that great. He hasn't looked that great all season, Matteo Arnaldi. If I'm being honest with you, I can't remember a point in time where I've thought this guy has looked brilliant. Last season he was decent on the hard court. This season, 7-6 on the clay. Fairly decent run in Rome. Was it Rome? It was one of them. I think it was the quarterfinals in Rome, something like that. 11-14 on the hard court, 4-2 indoors. As for Kovacevic, not much better. 33-29 as opposed to 22-24 for the Italian. 13 and 14 on the hard court. All the damage coming on the indoor courts, 15 and 4. That's right. He's been to 2 finals now, and he did get himself a title at the start of the season on the Challenger Tour. Got to the final in Montpellier on that indoor court. He was fantastic to start the year off. He really was. And then obviously he went on the run over in Mexico. But we're done with talking about Carbo now, aren't we? We're done with Los Cabos, Kovacevic. We ain't seen nothing like that since. Matteo Arnaldi. I just don't understand why he's such a big favourite in this one. 1.4. Is there something I'm missing? I don't know. There may just be something I'm missing in this, but I can't remember the last time Matteo Arnaldi won back-to-back matches. I know this is his first round match, so that doesn't really scan in this one. But apart from qualifying, like I say, I can't remember him winning 2 games in a row. When was the last time Kovacevic won 2 games in a row? Probably Mexico. I don't know. I don't think either one are in great form or in great shape prior to this. This one does feel a bit more like a coin flip. I think Kovacevic is a bit more lethal on the indoor hard court than Matteo Arnaldi. I could be wrong. I just think he suits the quicker conditions. I really do. I don't think he's a bad shout as a dog today. 2.7. I know he ain't exactly been that trustworthy since Carbo, folks. I understand this. But Matteo Arnaldi hasn't been in form all season, what it seems like. If you're going to get anything from Kovacevic, it's rather apparent to me we're going to get it on these indoor courts. So at 2.7, it's nearly a 2-to-1 dog. I don't hate Kovacevic for today. I really don't. I don't think it's as cut and dry as Matteo Arnaldi just turns up and wipes the floor with this guy in straight sets. I think they'll both have the work cut out for them. We could be in for a long one. Maybe lean towards an over, and I would lean ever so slightly towards the American getting that one done on the indoor court. And then we'll move on to what are we doing here? We've got the Demon, Alex de Minaur and Rodionov. Just give me the Demon. Just give me the Demon and just be done with it. These played each other once back in 2021 and Rodionov beat him. Fucking hell. Did he really? No. Yeah, he did on the grass in Stuttgart. But now Alex de Minaur is 1.03 as a favourite. And we all know why. Rodionov is on a 3-game losing streak. Abdullah Shelbayers beat him twice as well. And then Pierre Hughes Herbert. You're not going to beat Alex de Minaur. I'm looking at the last match when Medvedev beat de Minaur in Shanghai. Pardon me. You're not going to beat the Demon. Simple as that. If there's anyone out there that just thinks, you know what, Rodionov could keep this close for whatever reason, then be my Christopher guest. You have a go on that. I'm not even going there. Although I'm looking at some of his recent wins on the Challenger Tour. Valentin Vacherov, Martin Fucsovics in the Davis Cup, Fabian Marison, Davis Cup. I don't know. Maybe I'm sleeping on Rodionov a little bit. He will be the home favourite. He's Austrian, isn't he? Yeah, of course he is. That doesn't mean shit. Is that home crowd going to turn you into someone who's capable of beating the likes of Alex de Minaur? Top 10 player? No. I just don't think so. I can't see Rodionov doing shit. The last time I watched him, I don't know whether anyone remembers, but was it last season? Do you remember? I think we were on the clay and we had Rodionov to win a set against Christian Garin. And we were on one hell of a run. I had Rodionov to win a set against Christian Garin on a parlay, and it got rained off for like 3 days. And when the match got called off, it was advantage Rodionov for the second set, and then 2 or 3 days later he'd come back and he lost it, and then broke himself straight after and just sent himself home. I haven't touched him after that. I haven't went anywhere near him. I haven't really paid much attention to the guy, and even if it did, I don't think it's going to make much difference in this one. He didn't even qualify for Brussels last week. He's not going to beat Alex de Minaur, so I don't know where the value is on that one. No idea. So I'll wrap this shit up with Karen Khachanov and Salon Griekspoor. Thank you very much, ATP draw. Whoever sorts out these draws, thank you very much for giving us this one. An absolute nightmare matchups. You might be sitting there going, Paulie, who do you think wins this? Honest opinion, none of them. Is it possible for both players to lose this match? Because I feel like if it was ever to happen, it'd be with these two right now in the current form. What happened to Khachanov, man? What happened to Khachanov after the grass? You know what I mean? Like, how good was he on the grass? And then since coming off it, he got to the final in Toronto. There was that very close game against Ben Shelton. It was fantastic. It was as close as you would have got, really. And then 2-1 in Cincinnati, 1-1 in the US Open, getting beat by Kamil Masharak. And then back first round exits for Karen Khachanov. The game against Alexander Muller, like I said, was an absolute fucking disgrace. I've been very, very hesitant, very reluctant to trust this guy after that performance. Now I know he's much better than that, but just the fact that you're capable of doing that to yourself and more importantly to the rest of us, absolutely not. Didn't go near him in Shanghai, and it's a good job because Jerry Shang beat him in 2, and I didn't go near him in Almaty over in Kazakhstan. Although, if there was ever a time where Khachanov probably could have turned up and been a bit inspired to at least put in somewhat of a hustle, it would have been as the defending champ over in Kazakhstan. But no, he got sent home in the first round by Jan Struff. So yeah, season done. Season done for Khachanov, are we saying? Maybe. Possibly. You know, if the season's done for Khachanov, then the season is done for Griekspoor as well, because this guy's been even worse. Apart from those 2 wins that he managed to get in Shanghai. And I say 2 wins. Barely got past Jensen Brooksby. I mean, what the fuck was that? 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. Imagine betting on an over in a Griekspoor match and it goes to these sets and it still goes under. Honestly, God, I've never seen anything like that. And then he turned up and looked like one of the best in the world against Yannick Sinner before he pulled out. He even took a set off. It's just, you just can't write it. You just can't write it. Ever since he won that title over in Mallorca, this guy just went, yep, ring me up, I'm done, I'm out of here. 2 wins in your last 10. Karen Khachanov, 4 wins in your last 10. The pair of them are 10 times better, 50 times, 100 times better than the current form, than what they're both displaying. Now I know that, you know that, we don't need to discuss it. We're getting Khachanov at 1.5. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now that doesn't mean that I'm automatically going to side with Talon Griekspoor as 2.6 as a dog. It's a decent price, but both of them are just doing nothing at the moment. Like, I wouldn't trust either one if they were playing anyone else. So now they're playing each other. I can't tell you how it's going to go. Indoor hard courts, very quick serves. If anything, the return games are just going to be piss poor from the pair of them, as they have been for a few months now. So if anything, they might just turn up and just serve each other out. We might be in for a long one. So that kind of feels like a cop-out going for an over with the Talon Griekspoor, but it's always been the formula. It's always been the way, and I feel like it shall remain that way for quite some time. Lean towards an over. I wouldn't be placing any cash on either one of these today. Someone's got to win. There has to be one. There can only be one. But my question to you, as always, is who's it going to be? Who is it going to be, folks? Because it's the first day of the first round, and I most definitely do not feel like nailing myself to a cross trying to figure out who's going to win this one. Absolutely not. It was, once again, another day in the bag. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the show. Like and subscribe before you go. I'd appreciate that too. But you take it easy. You take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And I'll be seeing you around. I wish you the best of luck with your day. However you decide to go about your business. Don't forget to share with the group. Don't be shy. Let us know what you're going for. Anything I'm going for is going to be in that pinned comment. You know that by now. But see you in a bit, folks. Have yourself a good one. Enjoy the matches today. And I'll see you all tomorrow.